Good evening, I'm Richard Brown, and this is your Net Worth Global News Roundup. A confidential document prepared for the Kremlin by a Moscow-based think tank with ties to Russia's intelligence services proposes strategies to prolong the war in Ukraine and undermine US-led peace efforts. The document, obtained by European intelligence and reported by the Washington Post, suggests that a peaceful resolution to the conflict is unlikely before 2026. Let's take a deeper look into the situation and conflict.
The world watches with bated breath as the conflict in Ukraine rages on. What began as a regional crisis has escalated into a global concern, with far-reaching implications for international security and the balance of power. As the war enters its third year, a chilling document has emerged from the shadows, revealing a potential roadmap for Russia's long game in Ukraine. This document, allegedly originating from a Moscow think tank with ties to the FSB, outlines a strategy to prolong the conflict until 2026. Its contents paint a grim picture of Russia's ambitions, including the complete dismantling of the Ukrainian government and the creation of buffer zones under Moscow's control. These revelations raise urgent questions about the future of Ukraine, the prospects for peace, and the broader implications for the global order. The leaked document, while not an official Kremlin policy statement, offers a disturbing glimpse into the thinking of those close to the levers of power in Moscow. It outlines a multi-pronged strategy aimed at achieving Russia's objectives in Ukraine, even if it means prolonging the conflict for years to come. The document's authenticity has been neither confirmed nor denied by the Kremlin, but its recommendations align with Russia's actions and rhetoric since the invasion began. This suggests that the strategy outlined within its pages may indeed reflect the broader consensus within the Russian elite. At the heart of the document lies a chilling objective: the complete dismantling of the current Ukrainian government. Moscow views the current leadership in Kyiv as illegitimate and a threat to its interests. The document advocates for a strategy of undermining and delegitimizing the Ukrainian government through a combination of military pressure, economic warfare, and propaganda. The goal is to create the conditions for regime change, installing a pro-Russian government that would be subservient to Moscow's will. The document goes beyond regime change, outlining plans for the dismemberment of Ukraine itself. It calls for the creation of buffer zones in both northeast and southern Ukraine, effectively placing these regions under Russian control. These buffer zones would serve as a security cordon, protecting Russia from what it perceives as NATO encroachment. The document also demands international recognition of Russian sovereignty over Crimea and the Donbas region, territories that were illegally annexed from Ukraine in 2014 and 2022, respectively. A flawed peace, Moscow's terms for negotiation. While the document acknowledges the possibility of peace talks, the terms it lays out for a negotiated settlement are far from conducive to a lasting peace. Russia demands complete Ukrainian neutrality, effectively barring Kyiv from joining NATO or seeking closer ties with the West. Furthermore, the document rejects the presence of international peacekeepers in Ukraine, insisting that Russia alone should be responsible for security in the buffer zones it seeks to create. These demands, if met, would leave Ukraine vulnerable to further Russian aggression and undermine its sovereignty. The United States as Ukraine's most powerful ally, faces the daunting task of navigating a path to peace while countering Russia's efforts to prolong the conflict. The Biden administration has provided Ukraine with billions of dollars in military and humanitarian aid while imposing crippling sanctions on the Russian economy. However, the US has also been cautious about escalating the conflict, refraining from providing Ukraine with certain weapon systems that could strike deep inside Russian territory. The challenge for Washington is to strike a delicate balance between supporting Ukraine and preventing a wider war with Russia. The conflict in Ukraine has sent shockwaves throughout the international system, with profound implications for global security and the balance of power. The war has shattered Europe's sense of peace and security, leading to a dramatic increase in military spending and a renewed focus on collective defense. The conflict has also exacerbated existing geopolitical tensions, particularly between Russia and the West. The Kremlin's aggression has prompted a reassessment of Russia's place in the world order, casting a long shadow over international relations. The war in Ukraine has thrust NATO into the spotlight, testing the alliance's resolve and its ability to deter further Russian aggression. Moscow views NATO expansion as a direct threat to its security interests, citing it as one of the main justifications for its invasion of Ukraine. The conflict has prompted NATO to strengthen its military presence in Eastern Europe, deploying additional troops and equipment to member states bordering Russia. The alliance has also reaffirmed its commitment to collective defense, vowing to defend every inch of NATO territory. The leaked document from Moscow offers a sobering reminder that the war in Ukraine is far from over. Russia's apparent strategy of prolonging the conflict poses a significant challenge to Ukraine, its allies, and the international community as a whole. The outcome of this conflict will have profound consequences for the future of Ukraine, the security of Europe, and the global order. The world must remain vigilant in these times. World leaders need to communicate fairly with each other while seeking a just and lasting peace. The stakes could not be higher, for the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, and with it, the principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the rule of law.